Welcome to the strengthen portion of this video series. Remember that posture and movement are key when it comes to preventing and treating hip and back pain. Also remember that a strong core does no good at all if you are not supporting good posture. Strong abs don't mean anything if you're slouching. You want to make sure that your posture is good, tall, and that you have the muscles that are strong enough to support you in that correct positioning. So I want you to start from the beginning with me. Even if you have viewed this video 100 times, I want you to start with the basics. The first thing we're going to do is find perfect posture. So what I want you to do is start from the bottom up. Practice makes perfect, remember. So again, every time you do this video, I want you to start with me at the beginning. Feet and knees point straight forward. Feet are about hip width apart. You want to think about making sure that your feet are not pointing out to the sides. That's very common. Sometimes even just one foot points out to the side. They point straight ahead. The knees can be soft, slightly bent. Not bent, but just soft. You don't want to lock the knees. So next I want you to think about your pelvis. I want you to think about a water bowl, a bowl full of water inside your pelvis. Now, if you tip your pelvis forward, if you stand with an overly arched back, you think about the water sloshing out the front. Now, if you stand with a slumped spine with your tailbone tucked under, the water is going to slosh out the back. So you want to find that position where that water bowl would be the water would be still in the bowl and it would not be sloshing forward or back. The other way you can think about this is that your waistband should be basically level, parallel to the floor. You don't want your waistband to be tilted this way or the other way. You want your waistband to be basically level and the water bowl to be still and not sloshing forward or back. The next thing we want to think about is the chest, shoulders, and head. So think about opening the chest by pointing the shoulders away from one another. This opens the chest and allows you to really breathe deeply and fully. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down, and lift the crown of the head toward the ceiling. So this is our perfect posture with a neutral spine. And this is the position we want to support as we're strengthening the muscles. So the next thing I want us to do is really feel and wake up the deep abdominal and back muscles, the core muscles that we're going to be strengthening in this video. So let's think about first waking up the abdominals and the back, deep back muscles. So we're going to do this with a pelvic tilt. Forward and back. I want you to feel the muscles starting to really wake up. As you come forward with your pubic bone, your deep abdominal muscles are kicking in. Feel that. Feel the muscles kick on and then stretch. Kick on and then stretch. Now place your hands on your low back and feel that as your tailbone points back, you feel those low, deep back muscles kicking on, waking up. And then as you come forward, the back muscles are stretching. So again, feel the back muscles turning on and then stretching. Moving forward and back. You can even place one hand on the front and one hand on the back. It can really help to feel physically with your hands the muscles that we're working so you know where your focus should be, where your attention should be, and it improves the mind-body connection. So let's now move on to feeling the obliques and the hip muscles. This is all part of the core. So I'm going to have you bend at your knee, and I want you to let your pelvis drop and then lift your hip up on this side. Use your waist muscles to lift your hip up toward your armpit, and you can also use your hip muscles on the opposite side to make this happen too. So your hip muscles right here on the outside are helping to lift you up, and so are your obliques, helping to crunch you up toward your armpit. So feel all of this action happening in your core, in the hip area and in the abdominals, the obliques, the deep abs, everything is just really working. You're feeling your hips and your obliques. Go ahead and try the same thing on the other side, bending the knee and then feeling hips and obliques. Feel the muscles working again, improving your body awareness, improving the mind-body connection, feeling the muscles that we want to strengthen, the muscles that are going to help support our perfect posture and prevent or treat the hip and back pain that you may be experiencing right now. All right, let's go ahead and now feel the obliques in a different way with small little crunches, standing crunches. So pull your abdominals inward and just crunch. Bring your knee up and your opposite elbow toward opposite knee. And feel those abdominals working, those deep abdominals and the oblique muscles working as you do this tiny little crunch. One more on each side, pulling your abs in, and then just shake it all out. All right, let's go ahead and find the perfect posture once again, neutral spine, and then we are gonna zip up and hold the zipped up position, which supports the good posture while we move. So feet and knees pointing forward, waistband is level, the water bowl is still, chest is open, crown of the head is lifted, and in this position, zip up. So engage your pelvic floor muscles gently, do a gentle kegel, and then gently pull your abdominal muscles inward. And this is supporting that beautiful, perfect posture. You can reach your arms overhead, make sure those abdominals are really pulled inward, and then arms down. Now, hold this zipped up position while we move. This is great practice for real life. So move side to side, and let's move up and down with our hands, up and down, again, side to side. Let's go forward and up. Again, when I say this is practice for real life, what I mean is that you need to know how to quickly and effectively engage those core muscles and maintain neutral spine when you're doing activities in life such as bending, lifting, pushing, pulling, really anything that requires balance or a little extra core stability. You need to know how to effectively and quickly utilize these muscles. Let's twist and come up, twist and come up. Again, you're keeping the core strong and your spine neutral as you're doing these movements. Let's reach up and bend back slightly, and again, out to the side, out to the side. Let's push forward, pull back, push forward, pull back, and finally, let it all go. Relax. Quickly find that good posture, zip it up again, and one more time, just a quick round, side to side, up and down, and bend and up, push, push, and pull, pull, and then go ahead and let it go. Shake it out. All right, let's do some isolated core strengthening exercises right now. So we'll get down on the hands and knees, and we're going to go into a great exercise that really helps to activate those deep abdominal muscles, the transverse abdominis in particular. And I want you to come into a hands and knees position with your wrists directly under your shoulders and your knees directly under your hips. From here, go ahead and let your spine move back and forth, arch and round your back, and then find a neutral spine position. So there's a slight lumbar curve in your low back. We want that there. In this position, we're going to pull the abdominals inward, so the belly button toward your spine. When you do this, to make sure that you're activating the deep abdominals and not the six-pack muscles, the rectus abdominis, which is more of an outer abdominal muscle, you want to be sure that you don't tuck your tailbone under. If your tailbone tucks under and your spine starts to flex, that means your six-pack muscles or your rectus abdominis is kicking on. And we're not going for that for this exercise. We're going for your deep abdominal muscles. So what you want to do is maintain the neutral spine and maintain that little lumbar curve. Don't tuck your tailbone under. Nothing should move in your back as you pull your belly button up toward your spine, away from the floor. Nothing is moving in your spine, just the belly button is moving up and in, up toward your spine. Hold it. You are going to have to breathe into your chest right now, rather than into your belly. Breathe into your chest to keep the breath flowing. And on your next exhale, pull that belly button up toward your spine just a little bit more. You'll really feel this right here and here. Feel the muscles with your hand if you can. Feel them kicking on. Again, you'll know you are not using the right muscles if your tailbone tucks under. You're starting to flex your spine. We're not going for that. We're going for those deep abdominal muscles. And go ahead and let it go. Shake it all out. Circle your bottom around. And again, find neutral spine. Neck is long. You can be on your fists if your wrists are starting to hurt. And pull your belly button up toward the spine without moving your back at all. Breathe into your chest. On your next exhale, pull the belly button up a little more without moving your spine, without tucking your tailbone under, and hold it. You should feel quite a burn in your deep abdominal muscles. A good burn. And let it go. Shake it all out, move your hips side to side. And again, find neutral. Pull the belly button in the same way we did before, and we're gonna go into a bird dog. So the beginner version is to just lift your leg. The more advanced version is to lift opposite arm and leg. So very slowly, we're gonna lift opposite arm and leg away from each other. Hold it, keeping your balance, keeping your core strong, abdominals pulled in like we worked on before, and then down. Other side, and hold. Make sure that your hips stay square, pointed down toward the floor. Don't open your hips. Keep everything still, and down. Now we're gonna go a little bit faster, alternating sides. Don't go super fast, it's just a little bit faster. Still a gentle, slow movement with lots of control. Keeping your abdominals pulled in, your core strong. And think about a hot cup of tea on your back. You want to keep your trunk and your spine so still and controlled that that hot cup of tea would not spill as you move your arms and your legs. The only thing moving here is your arm and your leg. Keep breathing. And on the next one, let's hold it again. Hold. You should feel those abdominals pulled in, your glute, your buttocks is strong. Reaching the opposite arm and leg away from one another. And down, still keeping the abs strong. Let's go the other side. Hold it. Keeping the hips square, pointed down. And come back into child's pose. Take a deep belly breath, press your belly into your thighs, and as you exhale, pull your belly button inward away from your thighs. Now we're going to go into a plank. So for this exercise, there's different variations that you can do depending on your level. So you can be either from your knees and your hands. Just make sure that your body is straight like a plank, not sagging at your pelvis or lifted up. This is going to be probably the easiest level, starter level for you to do. Now, if you're a little more advanced, you can come down onto your elbows and be from your elbows and your knees. Just make sure, again, that your hips aren't sagged down or up. You want to keep your body straight like a plank, your neck reaching long, and your abdominals pulled in. Now, the next two variations are they're both more advanced. So you can either tuck your toes under and be in a plank from your elbows, still abdominals pulled in, heels reaching back and neck reaching forward, or you can be from your hands and your feet. Abdominals pulled in, neck reaching away from your feet, your heels are reaching back, you're pressing down into your palms of your hands, abdominals pulled in, body straight like a plank. Your abdominals and your back muscles are co-contracting. Just make sure that your hips aren't up here or sagging. You want to keep your body straight like a plank. Breathe. Let's hold it for 10 more seconds. Heels reaching back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees down, press back into child's pose, and take a deep breath. That is a wonderful total core exercise. Again, supporting neutral spine. So let's come onto our back. Very carefully roll down one vertebrae at a time. And I'm going to show you this next exercise does have options. So you may, if you are more advanced, want to use a weight. I recommend 2 to 5 pounds. This is 5 pounds. It's a little on the heavy side. So 2 to 5 pounds is a great starting point. But for beginners, don't use any weight at all. For this exercise, you are going to rock your pelvis back and forth, and then find a neutral spine position where there's a slight lumbar curve, natural lumbar curve. Again, your waistband should now be perpendicular to the floor. Okay? So find that neutral spine position. Again, we're strengthening our muscles always when our spine is in neutral. So in this position, I want you to maintain this position as we bring our arms up overhead. Pull your abdominals in, maintaining the neutral spine. And then you're going to bring your arms down. Slowly lower your hands so they're just an inch above the floor. Now as your arms come to probably about here on their way down, your low back is going to want to arch off the floor. Don't let it. You have to work pulling in your abdominals to keep your neutral spine position and maintain your back in this neutral spine position and prevent it from overly arching. So now exhale as you bring the arms up and go ahead and repeat one more time with your knees bent. Holding it, keeping your abs pulled in and your back pressing downward a little bit to maintain the neutral spine position. You do not want the overly arched low back. And come on up as you breathe out. Now, the next step is to straighten the legs slightly. They don't need to be completely straight. A slight bend in the knee is fine. And go ahead and bring the hands down. Hover above the ground, keeping that neutral spine position so nothing in your spine should move. Your abdominals are pulling in and you're pressing your low back down just a little bit to prevent the overarch that your body will want to have happen if you're not pulling the abs in. So keep the neutral spine. And on this last repetition, I'll show you with the weight. As you become more advanced, you can have used the weight the entire time we've been doing this. But I'm just going to show you on this final round, final rep. So again, find neutral spine, abdominals pulled in, and maintain neutral spine as you bring the arms down. Again, you can be using this weight the entire time if you are more advanced, but only if you're more advanced because it really adds quite a bit of challenge. Keep the abs pulled in and the spine neutral as you bring the arms up. All right, carefully set the weight down. And we're going to move right into another exercise that the key is we're maintaining neutral spine. There's a theme among all of these exercises. So again, rock your pelvis gently. Find that neutral spine position. You don't want your back arched, but you also don't want it pressed so that your pubic bone is going up toward the ceiling, okay? Find the neutral spine. In this position, pull your abdominals inward. Try to find that sensation that you had when you were on hands and knees and pulling your belly button toward your spine. The same sensation, the same abdominal muscles pulling in, and your spine in a good position. So put your hands on your hip points, the ASIS points of your pelvis, right here and here. And make sure that your pelvis does not rock side to side or shift or move forward and back as we do this next exercise. Keep everything pulled in. Lift one leg off the floor an inch, just a tiny motion, and hold it. And then put it down. Now the other leg lifts off the floor an inch. We're talking tiny. And down. Now as you move your legs off the floor and down, marching back and forth, your spine stays completely still. And your pelvis stays completely neutral without rocking side to side and without rocking forward and back. You can hold on to the pelvis to feel what's happening. And if you feel it shifting, As you lift one leg up, you might feel this side pop up toward the ceiling. Don't let it. Use your abdominals to keep everything in place. Again, as you lift this side up, you might feel this side of the pelvis popping up toward the ceiling. Don't let it. Use those abs. If they are strongly enough pulled in, they are keeping everything in place. So keep breathing. And remember, you don't have to go quickly to get a good workout. In fact, the slower, the better. And in this case, the slower and the smaller the movement, the better. I have been doing this exercise for years now, and I consider myself to have a fairly strong core, but I can still feel an incredible burn from this exercise. It's really working those deep abdominal muscles in a great way. Let's do one more on each side, and then you can keep doing this for a little bit longer if you're a beginner. I'm going to show you a variation for people who are advanced. So if you were advanced, you could be doing this from the beginning of when we started this. Find neutral, pull your abdominals in, bring one leg up, and then pull, really keep everything pulled in as you bring the other leg up. Don't lose that neutral spine or the abdominals pulled in. And then you can do a prance with your arms overhead. This adds even more challenge. Going down and up, down and up, down and up. But again, this is only for more advanced students. If you are a beginner and you're trying this, please do not have your hands overhead, have them on the floor, or just stick with what we were doing before, the marching back and forth. It's still a great workout. So let's just do a couple more of these, and remember that this is also a great option to continue with. Okay, go ahead and shake it all out. Let it all go. Take a deep belly breath. And we are going to counteract all of that with a nice bridge pose. So what you want to do for bridge is keep your hips and knees hip width apart. You want to engage your pelvic floor muscles, tighten your buttocks, and roll up one vertebrae at a time into a nice full bridge. Now from here, we're going to go into a bridge series where we really work the glutes. Now we're working the hip flexors. We were working the hip flexors and the abdominals before. Now we want to work the back and the butt muscles, okay? Really getting the whole core. So we come all the way up and down, really squeezing the buttocks, cheeks together at the same time as you come up. Really squeeze, and then you can relax on the way down, but really squeeze on the way up. Breathe out on the way up. And think about pressing down into your heels as your hips lift up. Let's do 5 more. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold it here. Really press down into the floor. In fact, lift your toes and feet off the floor, and then pulse your hips up into the air for 15 more. 10 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now roll down one vertebrae at a time. Let your buttocks relax. Let your knees flop apart. You're on the edges of your feet. Now we're going to work the inner thighs. Again, still part of your hip and core area. So squeeze your inner thighs together as your legs come up and you roll onto flat feet. This is called butterfly bridge. So your feet are actually fairly close together and you are rolling up onto flat feet, bringing your knees together. So come down, open, and breathe out and squeeze your buttocks as you exhale and come up. Breathe in, breathe out. Butterfly bridge. It's like butterfly wings. Squeezing the bottom, squeezing the inner thighs, working the inner thighs, the pelvic floor, the glutes, the back, everything. And let's do 10 more. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Come down, rock side to side, and then bring the knees up to your chest to stretch that out. So bring everything in and just relax. Take a deep belly breath. Then straighten out those legs and roll onto your belly. You can just roll onto your side. I'm going to come this direction here. And we're going to come into a Cobra. This is just a stretch for the front of the body, and it does strengthen the muscles a bit in the low back, but I want you to go ahead and really rest on your elbows. So really, it's less of a strengthener and more of a stretch for the front of the body. Keep your shoulders down, away from your ears, and your neck long. Gently engage the buttocks muscles, just gently, and relax in this position. Feeling your low back stretching, the front of your abdominal area stretching, and then go ahead and lengthen, and then flex, extend, and flex the cervical spine. So everything's connected. The head is the top of the cervical spine. Everything we do in the spine affects other places in the spine. So you want your neck and head moving freely as well as your lumbar and thoracic spine as well. One more time, up and down. And then go ahead and carefully come down onto your belly, and we're going to swim. So tighten your bottom and reach and lift opposite arm and leg off the floor. Think about not just reaching as high as you can, but think of lengthening out in front and behind you with your leg and your arm. If you reach too high, you can overly arch your back, and we don't want that. Just a small lift and really a reach. Think about symmetry and balance. So whatever one leg is doing, make sure the other leg is doing the same thing, lifting as high, reaching as far back. Same with the arms. Whatever one arm is doing, make sure the other arm is doing the same thing, reaching as far forward, lifting as high. You want to be balanced. This strengthens the entire backside of the body. The glutes, the low back, the shoulders, the neck. Let's do 2 more on each side. And 1 more on each side. And then sit back into child's pose. Take a deep breath. One more deep breath, and then roll up. From here, we're going to move into Clamshell Series. So onto your side, come down, and I want you to bring your legs forward so that you're about 90 degrees here at between your waist and your thighs, and also 90 degrees right here at your knees. So from this position, keep your feet together, and just very gently and small movement, lift the top leg away from the bottom leg and down. Keep the pelvis stacked, one hip on top of the other, and lifting the leg up just a little bit and down. And just 5 more. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now lift the feet off the floor, and this just makes the movement bigger now. So this is a great series of exercises to mobilize, move, and strengthen the muscles of the hip. And I know, again, this is a hip and back pain video, so this might be difficult for you. You might really be feeling this right now. I'm already feeling it, and I don't have any hip pain. This is a great series for strengthening these muscles. It's good to get movement in this area. So now hold the leg up the next round, and then stretch the leg toward the ceiling, touch the feet together and down. We're just going to do 5 of these. Stretch, touch, and down. 3 more. Stretch, touch, and down. 2 more. Stretch, touch, and down. 1 more. Stretch, touch, and down. Ooh, quite a burn there. Now straighten the top leg and leave the bottom leg bent, and we're just gonna go all the way up and down for 8 more. Make sure that the lower waist does not lift away from the ground. You wanna press that low waist down into the ground. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. And just pound out that hip. That really, you can feel that, quite a burn right there. This is a great strengthener, like I said, moving and strengthening those muscles around the hip joint. Go ahead and come onto the other side. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So again, hips and knees bent forward, head on your arm, abdominals pulled in, pelvis stacked, and keep the feet together. We're gonna clamshell, open and closed. It's a small movement. Five more. 4, 3, 2, lots of control. And this time, lift the feet off the ground and open and close. Keep the abdominals pulled in, the hips stacked. The only thing moving is the leg. 3, 2, 1. Now open the legs and stretch the foot up toward the ceiling. Come down and rotate. Up, down, knees together. 3 more. 2 more. Last one. And go ahead and come on down. Pound that out briefly. Now straighten out the top leg and come all the way up and down. Press that low waist down into the floor. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And yes, you should really be feeling that in the hip. It's good to feel that little bit of a burn. Pain is not good, but feeling it is good. Pain is not good, feeling it is good. All right, go ahead and come on up, and we're gonna move into a deep squat stretch. That is wonderful for really stretching the hips, the knees, the low back, ankles, everything. Now, you can move into this over time. It might take you time to get down into the full deep squat position, but this is what we're going for with the feet on the floor. Feet can be fairly wide, but you want your knees bent, your back straight, your chest lifted, and to hold it here. Now, if you need to, you can have your heels off the floor and propped up on yoga blocks or a rolled yoga mat, that's fine. You can even hold onto the floor to begin with, or a chair in front of you. But try to work your way down to this position. Let's hold it here and do one little kegel in this position. Squeeze and lift your pelvic floor muscles. Hold it, and then totally release those muscles. Let them go. Totally relax. Take a deep breath, and then let's come down onto our bottom and get ready to end with some standing exercises. We are almost ready to be done here and stretch out. So come on up to standing, and we're going to do one final round of exercises for the hips. So beginning with some pelvic lifts, I want you to place your hands on your hips. You can have a wall or a chair nearby for balance if you need it, but you're going to place your hands on your hips and bend up your leg, and you're going to let your pelvis totally drop diagonally. Now use these hip muscles on this side, not your waist muscles this time, not like we did at the beginning, just the hip, to lift the pelvis up and then down. Lift the pelvis up and then down. Feel it right here on the outer hip area. The outer hip area, feeling this as you bring the hips up to a level position and then let them drop down. These are called the hip abductors, abductors. The gluteus medius is the primary one that we're working right now. Feeling those muscles really working and turning on to move the pelvis level. Let's do one more. And then hold it here while we do a leg lift. So you can keep the knee bent. You can also have your leg straight if you'd like, but we're gonna just lift 10 times, keeping your pelvis completely level. and 4, 3, 2, 1. This was another situation, another example of where your core muscles should have been strong and engaged and supporting a neutral spine as we did the leg lift out to the side. So shake it all out, and let's go ahead and do the other side. So this knee is now bent, and we're going to drop the hip on this side, and then use these hip muscles to lift the pelvis up till your waistband is level this way, parallel to the floor. So again, drop the hip and then use these muscles to lift up. Drop and lift. Squeeze these muscles right here. Squeeze the hip muscles. It's a very subtle motion, but you will get the hang of this over time. Your core muscles should be engaged, your abdominal and back muscles. Your hips are part of your core for sure, but your abdominals and your back muscles should be engaged. But I really want you to be focusing your attention on your hip. Right here. Right now they're squeezing. And let's do one more. Now find that completely level position. Use these muscles to keep you there. And use these muscles to lift the leg out to the side. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, shake it all out. Like I said, we are almost done. So roll out those ankles briefly, and let's end with some squats, just regular squats. From this side, I'm going to show you, we're going to sit back, just little shallow squats, sitting way back, squeezing your bottom on the way up, breathing out on the way up, keeping your knees and your feet pointed straight forward, straight in front of you, and sitting way back with your bottom. And now let's go a little deeper for the next. So I want you to try to come a little lower, and then squeeze your bottom as you come up. Down, and really squeeze and lift with your buttocks and your pelvic floor. And breathe out as you come up. This is working your thighs just a little bit more. Just be sure that your knees never go beyond your toes. You should always be able to lift your tiptoes off the ground. Keep your chest lifted as you come down. Let's do 2 more. And 1 more. Good. Shake it all out. Let it all go. Another roll of the ankles. And a super quick stretch session at the wall. Just stretch out all the muscles we just worked so hard. So let's begin with a little bit of a lunge and calf stretch. The front knee bent. This will look familiar from our stretching video from our video series here. Front knee is bent. Back leg heel is on the ground. Feel a stretch in the front of the hip and in the calf. And then straighten the front leg and hinge forward from your hips, stretching the hamstring. And then come up. We are holding these stretches not quite as long as we do in the stretching series, the stretching video, but it's still a nice way just to make sure that the muscles stay loose at the end of this video. So even the shorter stretches are still helpful, even though the longer stretches are ultimately what we want for the stretching video. I want you to focus on holding them longer. So right now we're doing the IT band stretch. So the back leg is right behind your front, stretching up and a side bend. Breathe into this. Come on up. And a new one, standing hip stretch. Sitting back, think of reaching your sit bones straight back and not cockeyed, not off to one side or the other, straight back. Your foot is pointing straight forward. On the ground, your arch is lifted, and come on up. Same series on the other side. So you're going to stretch the back leg behind you, bend that front knee, feeling the stretch in the front of the hip and the calf. Holding it here. And now straighten the front leg, Hinge forward from the hips. Again, this will look familiar from the stretching video, but we're not holding it quite as long. Pull your abdominals in gently to support your back. Keep your hips square. Come on up, step that back leg a little bit closer. Reach your arm up and side bend, jutting this hip just a little bit out to the side. Deep breath. And last, we have a standing hip rotator stretch. So sit back, sit bones are going straight back, not off to the side or this side, straight back. The arch is lifted on the standing foot. And come on up. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that the combination of rolling, stretching, strengthening, and knowing how to find and maintain good posture helps you on your journey toward better health and improved back and hip pain. Thank you.